Greetings. I'm Michael Quinn Patton. When seeking inspiration for evaluation and evaluators, and helping non-evaluators understand the nature of evaluation, I often turn to the story of Don Quixote, written by the great Spanish author Miguel de Cervantes in 1605, sometimes considered the first great novel of the modern era, and I certainly consider it the first great evaluation novel. In this video, I'm going to recap the story and highlight its evaluation implications. Don Quixote is the story of a knight-errant, and the book is the history of his adventures. Miguel Cervantes said in the opening, in short, our gentleman, that is Don Quixote, became so caught up in reading that he spent his nights reading from dusk till dawn, and his days reading from sunrise to sunset. And so with too little sleep and too much reading, and he became so convinced in his imagination of the truth of all the countless grandiloquent and false inventions he read, that for him no history in the world was truer. In essence, then, Don Quixote becomes a story about different perceptions of reality, different truths, different ways of understanding what's going on in the world. And that is both what propels the novel forward and makes Don Quixote a great evaluation novel. He undertakes his adventures with his sidekick and companion Sancho Panza, and along the way he spouts various aphorisms, like this one: the truth may be stretched thin, but it never breaks, and it always surfaces above lies as oil floats on water. A relevant evaluation insight. He famously comes upon a windmill and thinks that it's a great giant and does battle with it, and thus comes the phrase into our modern lexicon of tilting at windmills. He comes across a herd of sheep and thinks it's a great army and does battle with it. He encounters a woman who by others is perceived as a common prostitute, but he perceives her as a fair damsel, as in this scene from Mn of La Mancha with Peter O'Toole and Sophia Legends. The story of Don Quixote inspired Pablo Picasso and Salvador Dali and many other artists. The New Yorker magazine in November of 2021 included Don Quixote in tilting at windmills in an issue about the future of wind energy. And so Man of La Mancha, the great Broadway musical that took Don Quixote and turned it into song, includes a marvelous final soliloquy in which Don Quixote, after his adventures, has been brought back to his village by his daughter and village priest and his future son-in-law, and near death is told that at least he'll die in touch with reality. And he responds, in touch with reality, knowing life as it is. I've lived for many years now. I've seen life as it is. I've been a soldier and a slave. I've seen my comrades die in battle or fall more slowly under the lash in Africa. These were men who saw life as it is, and they died despairing. No glory, no bray of last words, only the look of despair in their eyes, questioning why. I do not believe they were asking why they were dying, but why they had ever lived. Who knows where madness lies? Perhaps to be too practical is madness. To surrender one's dreams, this may be madness. But maddest of all is to see life only as it is and not also as it could be. Maddest of all is to see life only as it is and not also as it could be and should be. And so the evaluation task is to look at how the world really is, to sort out different perceptions of truth, and to present those findings about reality, but not as an end in itself, but in the context of goals and vision about how the world ought to be, a more equitable and sustainable world. And so it is in that sense that the impossible dream becomes an evaluation dream. The evaluation impossible dream became our theme song for launching the 5th edition of utilization-focused evaluation. A vision of evaluations used, of intended use by those intended to use, to stay focused on utilization, to refuse to confuse or misuse, to work intergenerationally in the context of the climate emergency, time being ever of essence, propelled by urgency. Evaluation as quest to serve the greater good, no matter the politics, being useful as we should, to fight for what's just, without question or pause, promoting principles of environmental justice, evaluators engaged in the cause. And we know it will only be true to this glorious quest to transform systems equitably, evaluate at its best. And the world will be better for this, that principles deeply guide what we do, ever striving with primary intended users to stay focused on utilization, to stay focused on utilization. That is the impossible dream that Don Quixote inspires. Useful evaluation, looking at reality, gathering multiple perspectives, sorting them out in the context of a vision for a more equitable and just world.